Hi, everyone. This is Nicole Willett. I'm the community manager at Moneymentals. And we have today here Michael Goldman, who started the Moneymentals online course, who's going to answer some personal finance questions. So, hey, Michael, thanks for
Hey.
answering all my friends' personal finance questions.
That's what I'm here for. I'm here for you, Nicole.
I appreciate it. I think these questions, though, are questions that other people have. But right before we
Sure.
start, I want to talk a little bit about Moneymentals. So, Moneymentals is an online 7-week course
Yeah.
designed, perfected, and led by a certified financial planner, which I think is really unique in the space. And what I also like is that this runs in small groups, which allows people, yes, they work through it themselves, but they have that group accountability, which I think is a nice balance. So if you want to learn more, go to moneymentals.com. Okay, that's the only plug we're going to do, and we'll
Cool.
just head right into the questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Thanks.
Hi, Michael. I've been hounding my boyfriend to open a retirement account, but he keeps saying that he doesn't have enough money to do that. Are there any no money down retirement accounts that I can show him?
That's a good question.
Yeah, well,
Well, a couple of things. I mean, I think it is worth kind of starting with, does he have enough money to do it? As we talk about a lot with my clients and in the Money Mentals course, you want to have certain things in order before you start investing. So, you want to make sure you've got enough in an emergency fund, which is, cash in the bank for an emergency before you start putting it into a retirement account.
Okay, how much money do you recommend people have ish?
But yeah, it depends how much and at what point. So the very, very minimum I think of as an emergency fund is 1 month worth of expenses. So if could cover 1 month's worth of expenses, that's sort of your very, very baseline emergency fund. Then at that point, you might take advantage of some investment opportunities, particularly if you have an employer plan like a 401k or 403b available to you, and your employer offers a match when you contribute. I usually say, okay, once you've got about a month's worth of emergency fund, then yeah, at least get the match in the 401k because it's free money. I mean, so you're going to, for every, dollar you put in, they may, put in a portion as well. So, usually a match is somewhere in the range of 3 to 5% of your compensation. So
Still free money.
after you've gotten the match, then I usually say, okay, now go back and top off your emergency fund. My usual target is about 3 months worth of expenses I feel like is a fully funded emergency fund.
Yeah.
Sometimes that takes a while to get to.
Yeah.
So, but to the original question about, can you get into a retirement account, for low cost? Certainly. I think a lot of times where people get caught up on that is they're thinking about opening up an IRA account or a Roth IRA account. A lot of times, planning to invest in mutual funds. And, a lot of times mutual funds will have some minimum investment amount, $1,000 or $3,000 to get into the fund. There's a couple ways you can deal with that. The kind of very close cousin to a mutual fund is something called an exchange traded fund, or an ETF is the jargon abbreviation for it. In ETFs don't have minimums the way mutual funds do. So you can usually buy even a single share of an ETF that might be $100 or less. So, in those types of situations, you could start an account and invest for very, very little money. Another way you can do that too that uses ETFs is some of the online, brokerage houses, and there's been more and more kind of robo-advisors that have sprung up. A lot of times you can, open an account with them. You can open the account without putting any money in, And then you
Oh,
can contribute, as little as $1 a month or whatever. So you can start very small. You don't have to have a whole bunch of money to start the account. And then, whatever you manage to put in is more than you would have anyway. A lot of times I'll have clients even start getting in the habit by setting up an automatic transfer from their bank account into a Roth IRA or something like that of, $5 a month.
yeah.
And it's, that kind of little drip saving, you hardly notice the $5 is gone. But, over time it accumulates, and when you're able to, you can increase the transfer more. So it can be pretty low barrier.
Yeah, I think the automated thing is the way to go no matter what you do, because it's not something that a lot of us think about. And, I've always contributed $25 a week into my retirement account since I got my first job.
Yeah, it's great.
And, at the time, that $25 felt like a lot more money to me than it does now. I probably should have my contribution, but I'm talking to you. But it's nice because now that I see my statements, I'm seeing that growth, 10, 15 years later.
Yeah.
So
And
that's great.
just keep in mind on retirement accounts, it's probably not the problem for this person's boyfriend, but there are maximums that you can contribute. So you just want to make sure you stay below those maximum limits. So for most IRAs and Roths, if you're under 50 years old, right now it's $5,500 a year you can contribute. You can contribute more to some types of retirement accounts like 401ks and 403bs. It's more like $18,500 a year. But most people have trouble getting to the max, especially just starting out. So don't think that if you're not putting the maximum allowable in, that you're not making good headway. Whatever you get in there is growing over time and compounding over time. So it's good to get an early start.
Great. Some great advice. Thanks so much, Michael.